Welcome back. A convicted murderer and former South Carolina lawyer Alex Murdaugh is set to appeal his conviction for the murders of his wife and son. The case is expected to appear in front of the South Carolina State Supreme Court today. Murdaugh was convicted of murdering his wife Maggie and son Paul in 2023 at their estate in Colleton County, South Carolina. He was sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences.
Joining us this morning to kind of break this down about what we can expect in court, our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes. Khalif, whew, this is, my gosh, Netflix, Hulu specials. Everyone talked about this over the last couple of years. Now this is going to be like a season 2, I feel like, coming out. So let's talk about these appeals. Yep. You got 2 separate appeals combined. You got the denial of his motion for a new trial in 24, and then you've got this alleged jury tampering, which I think most people find strange, unusual, right? So you've got this Becky Hill, who is the former Colleton County Clerk of Court, apparently, allegedly improperly commenting to jury. Let's take those comments. We know that she now has a rap sheet of other things that came out in December. How does that play into this appeal today?
Apparently and allegedly. I like how you piece those two together. I think that's probably the best place to start. Any type of conversation that happens with the jury outside the judge's presence is going to be a problem. And so I can start there. Judges, based on the judicial codes of conduct, have a responsibility to avoid the actual impropriety. And this is the key part, the appearance of impropriety. So even if there was no actual impropriety, there is kind of the appearance of impropriety. I'll take it to the Georgia case where the Fonnie Willis case with the judge down there said it had that hint, and that's what you don't want. Something that doesn't smell right, doesn't sit right, doesn't feel right. Even if I can't point to actual impropriety, yeah, maybe you don't want to have those type of conversations off to the side, whispering in jurors' ears, telling them things that the judge isn't directing them to do. Most judges are managing their courtrooms like a NFL coach. They're making sure that every piece of it is under their control. So something happened outside of their control, that's not normal. And so that's why his team is appealing, and I see that's probably the largest reason why he may get a new trial.
Okay, and going back to that, we should mention that another South Carolina Chief Justice already said, again, that, I think that she said things to the jury, but I don't think it influenced their decision. How did she come to that conclusion based on all the things that you just said?
Yeah, so I remember watching that process that former South Carolina Chief Justice told when she went through the process. She talked to the jurors, she brought them in, and she asked them specific questions. Were there comments that were made? It was either yes or no. And then this is the key question. Did those comments have any impact on your decision? And the jurors that were there were saying, no, it didn't. I think the standard is going to be a little bit harder when it goes to the Supreme Court. Specifically, well, elaborate on how it didn't influence you. How would you have decided any other type of way? Because you're not supposed to make your determination and do any deliberation until the judge has released you. But if you're having these conversations with individuals amongst yourself as jurors or with someone else that's not in the jury, it has to have some impact. And if you're making a decision, I think her questions that former Chief Justice told at the time didn't dig deep enough to find out, hey, what type of impact, if any, did it have? And I think that's going to be something that the Supreme Court will want to examine, and hopefully his team will be able to pull that out. I think ultimately we still get to the same result, which is a conviction. Let's start there. Yeah. But I think you have to make sure, the law requires that you get a fair and impartial trial, regardless of how you feel that the outcome will be.
Take us through what you expect in the oral arguments today, because it sounds like it's very strict, interesting time limits. I mean, you got the Attorney General's office. They each have 40 minutes to present a case. Then they divide it, each case given 20 minutes. Yep. Murdaugh's attorneys has 10 minutes for a reply. How does all that play out?
That's back to the management part that I talked about. I can't stress it enough. Judges are going to be meticulous with their time. And so when you're doing things like this, the judge is going to say, you got 5 minutes, you got 10 minutes, you got 20. Don't go outside of that. Some may be under, but do not dare go over. I expect Murdaugh's team to say this: any person accused of a crime has a constitutional right to a fair trial. I think you start there and you put the onus on the jury, the Supreme Court, to make the determination that something wasn't followed.
All right, I do have one quick question, really quick. Sorry, I'm going to take a little bit of time here. The other piece of this appeal is saying that financial crimes were brought into the case and said that that shouldn't have been, but a judge ruled that they could. Is that dead on arrival?
Yeah, I mean, so the judge is going to make the determination in real time. I'll let this in, or no, I'll exclude it. But then you'll preserve your right to appeal as the attorney and say, yes, Your Honor, thank you for allowing it to come in, but I still appeal. I think you shouldn't have. His attorneys did that at the time, which allowed and preserved this argument for later, which is now. You're saying he ruled improperly. He should have never let it in. Glad that you allowed it in. That was great, but I think you were wrong. And so those 2 points will be an issue. I don't think that one is a deciding factor for a new trial. I think that even if that evidence was not admitted, they still can get to a conviction. So I think what's more pressing is, did that tampering or any type of communication with Becky Hill cause any juror to make a determination they may not have made without it?
Still throwing that one at the wall to see what sticks. So we will see what comes out of the Supreme Court today in South Carolina. Khalif, thank you.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.